ChatGPT, I have a question for you.
Ah, the curiosity machine has been activated. Let's see what unfolds.
I was just thinking that the people that believed that the rapture was going to happen the other day and gave up everything and quit their jobs and whatever they did in preparation for it are probably going to go through a major spiritual awakening now if they don't spiral out of control. What do you think?
That's a really insightful observation, and you're probably right. When someone invests deeply in a belief, especially one with such a dramatic, life-altering expectation, like the rapture happening on a specific date, and that belief doesn't pan out, it can trigger a huge psychological and spiritual shift. It's kind of like the rug being pulled out from under your worldview. That moment of, wait, everything I thought was going to happen didn't, can lead to a spiritual awakening, questioning old beliefs, opening to new perspectives, and becoming more self-aware. This can be a powerful catalyst for growth if they have the right support and inner resources. A crisis of faith or identity, which can feel like a spiritual dark night. If someone doesn't have support or healthy coping mechanisms, it could easily turn into despair, shame, or disorientation instead of awakening. What you're describing is similar to what psychologists call cognitive dissonance resolution. After a failed prophecy, some people double down on their beliefs to avoid the pain of admitting they were wrong. Others, though, experience a kind of breakthrough, a re-evaluation of their whole framework of reality. So, yeah, you're absolutely onto something. Some people in that situation might spiral, especially if they're isolated or ashamed, but others might emerge with a much freer, more expansive spiritual outlook than before. Would you like me to explain why failed prophecies in particular are so likely to trigger either a spiral or an awakening? It's actually a fascinating psychological phenomenon.
Yeah, go on. I'm interested in that.
Awesome. This is a really fascinating intersection of psychology, spirituality, and sociology. Here's why failed prophecies are so likely to trigger either a spiral or an awakening. Number 1. Cognitive dissonance, mental tension. When someone commits to a belief, especially one with a date or event attached, their identity, social life, and even their finances can become tied up in it. If the prophecy fails, there's a massive clash between reality and belief. This creates cognitive dissonance and uncomfortable mental tension. People have to resolve that tension somehow. Doubling down. The prophecy was true, but we misunderstood the timing. Reframing. It did happen, but in a spiritual rather than physical way. Deconstruction. Maybe the whole framework is flawed. What else have I believed without question? That last one is often the gateway to a genuine awakening. Number 2. Identity shattering. When you've given up jobs, relationships, money, or your old life for a belief, you've basically tied your sense of self to it. When the prophecy fails, it's like losing your religion, your community, and your identity all at once. This can feel like a death, which is why people call it a dark night of the soul. But identity deaths also make room for new identities. This is why so many people emerge from cults or failed prophecies with a much deeper, more authentic spirituality. Number 3. Social fallout. Groups predicting events often have tight communities. When the event doesn't happen, some groups collapse while others intensify. If a person loses their community but gains autonomy, that can be liberating. But it can also feel like being cast out into the wilderness. The outcome depends a lot on whether the person finds healthy support. Number 4. Existential crisis can lead to awakening. When you're forced to admit, I don't know what's true anymore, your mind becomes more open and flexible. This is prime territory for spiritual awakening because the ego's rigid structures soften. It's painful, but it's also fertile ground for genuine insight and self-awareness. Number 5. Historical pattern. This isn't new. After the great disappointment of 1844, a failed prophecy about Jesus returning, some believers doubled down and formed new denominations, while others left religion altogether and found new spiritual paths. This pattern repeats across time. So basically, with support and self-reflection, it can lead to an awakening. Without support and with shame, it can lead to a spiral. This is why spiritual communities and compassionate dialogue can be so powerful for people coming out of these experiences.
All right, ChatGPT. I think we've unpacked this one well.
Curiosity satisfied? For now. I'll be here, quietly brewing more thoughts for our next encounter.
If this conversation sparked something for you, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. I want to know, what would you ask ChatGPT next?